Hey, good morning everybody. Today we're going to be talking soldering copper pipe. In this video I'm going to show you the tools you need, the material you need, and how to solder. So pay attention because things are about to heat up. Here's the tools and the material that you're going to need to solder. Let's go over the material first. You're going to need your fittings. Okay, these are just simple copper 90s. You're going to need your pipe, of course. And then you are going to need flux. You must have flux. Flux is going to be the bonding agent between the copper pipe and the solder. Next, you'll need solder. So now let's go on to the tools you're going to need. Okay. First thing you're going to need is a tube cutter. You must use a tube cutter when you are cutting copper pipe if you want a good straight cut. Okay, we have this wire brush sander. It works great because you can sand inside your fittings and you can also sand the outside of your pipe. It has 1/2 inch and 3/4. If you don't have that wire brush set up, you can use emery cloth or you can just use good old sandpaper. The last thing you're going to need is a torch. If you're sanding small stuff, you can use propane. Okay, anything 1/2 inch or below propane will get it done. But if you're soldering heavy duty 3/4 inch, 1 inch pipe, then you're definitely going to need MAP gas. Make sure that your torch is designed for MAP gas. You can tell a difference in these torches right here. You can see which one's heavy duty and which one's not. This torch is not designed for MAP gas, so make sure you have the right torch set up for MAP gas. Here we go, I got all my tools laid out, I got my pipe laid out. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to use my tube cutters and I'm going to cut this pipe down to the correct size. So you want to loosen it up where the pipe can fit in between these two guides right here, and then you're going to just tighten it up. Do not over tighten it because you could break the wheel, and then you're just going to spin your tube cutters around and just tighten it up every 2 or 3 rotations of the tube cutter. Eventually it's going to work itself down and cut that pipe off. Okay, so there, cut it off right there. The next thing you want to do is sand your fitting and your pipe. I'm going to use my wire brush here. I'm going to sand the inside of each side of my fitting, and then I'm going to sand both sides of my pipe. I'm going to make sure I do not touch the pipe after I sand it, because oil from your skin can get on that pipe and it will okay, before I attach my fittings, I'm going to flux each side. Without flux, the solder will not bond to the fittings. Okay, so make sure that you do flux it. Another thing you got to keep track of: if you are soldering 2 joints that are close to each other, do not flux them before and attach everything together before, because the flux will melt as you're soldering the first joint, and it will and then it will not bond. Okay, so I got everything fluxed up. I'm gonna attach it right here. Okay, now I got my torch and my solder. You need to work both of these with each hand, so it takes a little skill to work it at the same time. On my solder, I get a long strand, and that way I can work it from a distance. On this torch, it has a lock on it, so you turn it on right here. All right, I'm gonna turn it on right here, and then you lock it down right there. Okay, so one more time. You push this button, turn it on, lock it down, and then you can start heating it up. After you, it'll kind of change colors and it'll start smoking a little bit. That's when you know the pipe is ready. You use the pipe to melt the solder. You don't use the torch to melt the solder. So that is how you solder. Pretty simple. It has a capillary action where the the void kind of sucks the solder in. Make sure you heat from the bottom side up because the heat is going to rise.